aldrig vända hem. Går färran du må böte med ditt bo. Nu har nöcken fått ta sig hem, men han kommer nog snart igen.
Good evening and welcome back to my Dwarven Fortress of Esmulrakust Filled Tombs. I'm just observing that that's both of these that have had two dental plosives in the middle of the word. Name. Neither of which is particularly easy to pronounce. Anyway, so what's been going on? Well, what has mostly been going on after a reasonably calm early autumn, whichever that month is, the first goblin siege has arrived at Esmulrakust, and we paused basically as soon as saved basically as soon as we got the message saying that a vile force of darkness has arrived. They are seeking a parley, as is often the way. They have brought a proper commander, well, I mean, a vaguely competent commander anyway, a squad of lashers, a squad of macemen with a battering ram, and a squad of axemen, which I misdescribed in my post on Mastodon as swordsmen. Let's fix that. Edit. Change the alt text. A few goblin axemen at the north edge of the map. Right, there we go. This should not be a problem because we built this fortress to withstand new style goblin sieges, unlike Shoot Test, which was built, well, I mean, frankly, with only very, very vague ideas of defensibility at all. It was mostly built as somewhere to pick fruit. So I am... Gosh, that's a big pile of copper crossbow bolts. I am reasonably confident that we can survive this, especially since, unlike the undead and the elves, the goblins are willing to wait for us to get everyone inside before they attack. I mean, they call it a parley, but I call it a convenient opportunity to get everyone out of the line of fire or whatever. Not that they have any fire. So I think that's what we do. We probably then decline to give them whatever it is they ask for, unless it's something very easy. Not least because I would like to check that the fortress does stand up reasonably against a goblin siege. So let's first enable that the borough of which everyone should be a member, and possibly have a quick look at where it covers to make sure there aren't any like embarrassing omissions that will come back to annoy us. Actually, I think we should reduce it slightly around here, so that the one-way valve is considered not part of the fortress, as in people should not be mucking around in the one-way valve. But there are probably some bedrooms that aren't officially in the fortress in its new form. Well, the interior burrow. And we should fix that. Like all of this area. Right, that's better. So now people won't annoyingly find that their bedroom is officially outside the fortress. Right, so that should Diziet says, if you do this parley thing, won't your mayor get murdered when you say fuck off and die? No, the goblins are actually quite good at not randomly killing people until they will give the mayor a chance to get back inside the fortress before they attack. I don't know under precisely what circumstances this works. Like, the obvious thing feels to me like it should just be the mayor that's immune. But I don't know if it actually works like that. So let's unpause briefly and see if that that doesn't cause an enormous slew of job cancellations. So we may need to have a quick look around who's outside and what tasks they're officially undertaking. You're going to drink. You're probably going to drink in a useful place. And you're storing an item, and indeed that item's probably being stored in a useful place. It may actually be that there are people up on the mountainside. Let's have a quick wander around and see roughly where our people are. Pigs do not count. We don't care about the livestock. I mean, I think this may be a named pig, mind, but still. There's someone walking outwards. You're going to dig a channel. Right, let's... Problem is I marked a load of stuff that I wanted mined, and now am I going to have to unmark it just in order to stop it happening? Possibly I am. It will be the quickest way. We will come back and deal with that later. I think the mining marked areas were mostly quite high up, so one might hope that this being outside the fortress would cause people not to do it, but better safe than sorry, I think. Right, so that should mean that no one... Right, yes. Dwarf who was about to leave the fortress now comes back in again. I think everyone is heading inwards to the fortress. That's good. We've got a item is inaccessible cancellation, which is also good. So let's find out what they want, but probably turn them down. Assuming that is that our mayor condescends to go. Also, this will give the this will be interesting. The merchants, one of the merchants appears to be leaving out the front door. Okay. Who are you? Are you the mayor? No. What item are you going to store in a stockpile? I mean, it's probably safe. I'm just a bit concerned. Oh good, the merchants seem to have successfully departed. Target god of the poetic fungi is apparently... It's definitely not yours. We just made it. It's that bill and short sword. There is no reasonable argument for why that is yours. So I'm going to wait for these two slightly over-keen dwarves to come back in. And then I'm going to say no. Oh, the pig's coming in as well. What are you doing? Why are you leaving? What item are you storing as stockpile? Your Stukos limb thingamy. Do not do that job. And someone else might pick it up in a moment, but maybe they won't, because it is outside the area they're meant to pick up jobs from now. Let's have a quick check of whether there is... There appears to be... Oh, there's a zombie corpse that we still haven't cleared up. Sorry. Let's have a quick check of the mountainsides for... spare dwarves. They're a lot harder to find than they were in earlier versions. Like before, you could take advantage of a thing that would show you where the nearest dwarf was to your cursor, so you could, or where the nearest creature was anyway. So you could fairly rapidly exclude large areas as having anyone interesting in. So that's the mayor who is currently talking to the goblin commander. Like she's actually standing right next to the goblin commander. I think we don't... Ah, there's an engineer as well. Excellent. A builder. who is hauling 1 mica blocks. Is that really true? No, they're hauling the usual quantity, which is not 12, and it should be 12. Right, I think there are no spuriously outdoor dwarves other than the expected ones. The expected one. So I think we should switch the levers over to close the inner drawbridge and open the one-way valve. So that people can't easily get out. And then once the mare's inside, we will close. We should also staff the bolt thrower. Let's put it in stand ready mode, like, since officially we're not at war yet. But now, yes, we will decline the kind offer to take away what is definitely not yours. Hope that the mare can get away adequately fast. Looks good. I should actually watch the mare, shouldn't I? Now, this is walking. Dwarves can run much faster than this if they have to. What? How has someone managed to get into a fight already? I think you've just fallen down the cliff, or fallen down the hill, or something, or tripped over. And bruised your legs, bruised both of your lower legs. And your tongue, somehow. Atu Urestotho. We find them. Yes, I mean, I think my best guess is they've just fallen down the hill by virtue of extreme incompetence. And thus now have bruises. Right, well, that was an amusing start to the combat log for the siege. Where's the mare got to? There's the mare. Someone's just leaving the fortress. That should be impossible. Oh, because the inner drawbridge is probably... The inner drawbridge is now closed, but you have managed to get out before... How are you... What? Why are you attending a meeting? Are you trying to go to a meeting with the mayor? In which case the mayor has just gone past you in the other direction. Where's the mayor? The mayor doesn't think they're going to a meeting. Why are you going to a meeting? All right, you're going the other way now. And you're going through the one-way valve, which will take you a little bit of time because we need to wait for it, because it will open when the mayor goes past. Oh no, you just fell down in a perfectly plausible fashion. Right, good. So now I think we can probably safely raise the outer drawbridge. I don't think there's anyone outside. I mean, we can leave it down, or we could close the one-way valve, indeed, once everyone's in, if we're comfortable that there is no one outside. Right, those two are both inside now. Well, let's start with everything locked up tight. And see what happens. Grumble slightly about the fact that no siege operator is currently attending this bolt thrower. Like, firing a bolt thrower should be one of the most important things. Are we like weirdly short of siege operators or something? And we only have 2 people. Yeah, one of you has no job. Come and operate the siege engine. It's properly inside the burrow. Oh dear, that cat may be for it. A second goblin has apparently fallen down a hill. And done so more spectacularly painfully than the last one. And has destroyed their right hand in the process. Which, like, should not be practical, really. So how many goblins have they got now? Have a decent number of them arrived on the map, I wonder? Yeah, that's quite a lot. Mostly lashers, a few bowmen, 1 swordsman, which is the commander, a troll miner, 2 troll siege engineers. We are slowly improving our weaponry. So what are they doing now? They're kind of milling around a bit, unsurprisingly. They seem... Was that a dwarf? There's a dwarf outside. Come back in. Right, that dwarf has decided to carefully take that dog to where the dog should be. No, pause that zone. We'll need to open the front door again and let this foolish dwarf in before unhappiness ensues. Also, let's pause the other pasture. Because similarly, we don't want to require that people hang around there. And in particular, we don't want to require that people try to get the animals back into that pasture. Right, levers, 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 levers. Open the one-way door. And the narrow outer drawbridge. and hope this foolish dwarf does something sensible. They are at least heading back in the right direction. And probably, I think they've now reached a point of going, hang on, the front door's closed. Presumably quite shortly they will discover that the front door is open again. And then decide to come in through it. The dogs are now running around all over the place. For reasons, which is that the goblins are killing them. Which is sad, but... yeah, do you want to get well clear of those goblins, my dear armourer, who doesn't have any armour, I don't think? Right, there is actually a way into the fortress now for you. You should probably take it, or at least there might be. Hang on, is the... yes. There is a route into the fortress. I suggest that you make use of it forthwith. And not just hang around there looking confused. Nice one, good. No, that's running away. That's not getting into the fortress. Okay, Iton Geshud Batok is going to be the problem this time. So far, yeah, the Lashers are just going after the war dogs, which is sad, but part of the dog's purpose is, well, is actually as an early warning system. Right. The goblins are getting quite close to the front of the fortress, and our siege operators are still not there, which is annoying. I clearly need more siege operators. And one of them's asleep, but there is another one who is not asleep. Oh, only one of them's turned on. Right, that's why. Let us turn on some other siege operators, and then maybe better things will happen. I'm considering reclosing the one-way door, because if any of those goblins get past the traps, we will be unhappy. This will be unfortunate for the dwarf outside, but I think until we've got the bolt thrower staffed, I'm a bit worried that these guys are going to pour in. Now, we are quite well off for weapon traps. I'm not actually expecting many goblins to get past those, but I would prefer it if getting past them didn't actually get them in. So, and they're a lot faster than the zombies. Right, so we have one terrified cat and one goblin lasher. One ex-goblin lasher. That's the one that's killing the dog. That one, I think, yes, was missed by a fair number of spinning copper maces, but one of them did successfully kill that first goblin. But that will, like, knock a couple of traps out of service. Are you still chopping up our dogs? Yes, you are. Death is all around you. Yes, that's because you just keep killing things. Well, that was less effective, wasn't it? Presumably you were thinking how fragile we are because you just saw your friend get smashed in the head. You're quite good at dodging these, aren't you? You've got a bruised upper arm so far from 20 mace attacks. I think we need more of these traps. Oh, did I leave the bolt thrower on prepare? I did, didn't I? I mean, it doesn't matter. There's no one there. There was no one actually scheduled as a What are you doing? Who are you? Lorbam Fath Thingamy. Yes, it's possible we could make better traps, like with higher quality mechanisms. I'm just going to cancel all of those in case any of them are outside. Ah, see, they're not all useless. Once they start hitting, they tend to be fatal. Two goblins killed by the traps. One dwarf in the wrong place. It's just this goblin who is... I mean, it is an adequate dodger, which probably helps. But, like, has done a really good job of not getting hit by any of the traps. I mean, these two are the only other two goblins who have encountered the traps, and they've both been killed by them. So I think this is just one extremely good, well, at least tolerably good goblin. That dwarf has still not moved out of the one-way door mechanism. Oh dear, that doesn't look so good for our poor, well, our not very poor. So yes, lots of misses, but eventually got struck in the upper leg. And then in the lower body. And yes, this has seriously torn their leg at least. Which is probably not going to help their ability to stay upright or indeed dodge future attacks. Oh dear, our inappropriately located dwarf is now on the wrong side of the one-way door. And not very well armoured at that. Am I going to have to let them in? I think I am. Let's do it. I'm feeling reasonably confident about these. Because I think if I don't, the goblins are going to get to them. And I think at the moment the traps are doing all right if we're quick. Now, I don't think we are in danger of losing everything for one crew member. Actually, what I am going to do is the only reason we have the front door open is because there is a dwarf out there who could try to get in. But that would be stupid because they would run into an enormous pile of goblins. So let's keep them out for now by also raising the outer drawbridge. That way we will bound the number of goblins inside the fortress or in the Barbican. And hopefully a reasonable number of them will die and there will be few enough of them that the military can deal with them even if they don't. That was a big slew of messages and I didn't see anyone dying on the map. It was a goblin axeman, so I think it was... Let's have a look. So how's Snamoz doing? Oh, Snamoz has lost hold of their battle axe now. By virtue of getting their right elbow thoroughly broken. And that's an utterly dull message. So the Goblin Axeman, who is the only one who has successfully got past most of the traps, no longer has an axe. There is another Goblin Axeman who's doing all right so far, though. I think Snamoz has just got hit again. Yes. Snamoz is being slowly beaten to a pulp by the trap they're standing on. Strodno has successfully dodged the first round of attacks. Has got gently bruised by the second round. Snamoz, meanwhile, is continuing to be beaten up. Like, yeah, you're not going to ever leave that square, I fear. Strodno's still doing quite well. Ah, Strodno's dodged backwards. That's a dangerous manoeuvre. Snamoz, yeah, look, let's not worry about Snamoz. It's just rude to stare at that. Ooh, a new Axeman. Oh, that's the one who fell down the cliff early on. Has a bruised heart now. Oh, someone else seems to have dropped dead. Atu. Can it all end so quickly? Oh, yes. It was all going so well, and then something broke your leg, and then you fell over, which unfortunately would have been fine if you hadn't fallen over onto a weapon trap, which smashed your skull. Oh, I think another one's died. Oh, right, it was only Snamoz, whose upper body has exploded. Possibly permanently jamming that weapon trap, I'm not sure. Of course, the goblins are now in the situation where the only thing that they can reach ahead of them is this one unfortunate dwarf. So maybe they are reconsidering whether they want to come in this way. Possibly turning around and going back, which may or may not actually be a good plan. Strodno is still doing pretty well. Right, yeah, you're not going to get out of there. You're still all right. Death is all around us. I feel very uneasy. Yes, you're managing to avoid actually being involved in the death, but you are nonetheless right to feel uneasy. Oh dear, poor Strodno has lost hold of their axe, which generally indicates something fairly fatal. You're suffering from moderate fatality. Your song is still okay. One of the goblins is apparently not being marmalised. Is anyone coming to operate those siege engines yet, eh? Yes, someone is actually on their way to operate the siege engines. Just they're like 10 floors down. Right, I think the remaining goblin in the Barbican is fleeing from it. They've seen the number of dead goblins down there. And indeed, yes, this one is starting to leave. Possibly they'll change their minds when we successfully... Oh, right, this dwarf can now leave. Slightly worried about what they might be trying to store in what stockpile. Lorbam. I'll probably just cancel the task, but yeah, don't try to find kaolinite. It's almost certainly unwise. And anyway, we're about to close the front door. Oh, a goblin lasher has decided to come in though, or maybe not. Sproing! Excuse me, that was the noise of the front door closing. I'm sure there was a goblin on that bridge when it closed. I don't know where they've gone. We might get a message if they land somewhere. I think you may have been the one that was in the air. Yes. You have now gone thud on the ground outside the fortress. Oh, a siege operator has turned up. Excellent. And conveniently, there's an enormous crowd of goblins just outside. Right, well, that's one entire bolt thrower's worth of bolts hurled at the goblins. I mean, we don't get to see the misses here, but so easily broken. Yes, they are, aren't they? So, yes. I think that the goblins may possibly have underestimated the effectiveness of a dwarven bolt thrower. What are you doing? Where are you going? Look, you just successfully killed like 10 goblins, and now you've decided that you're not going to operate the siege engine anymore. That's possibly unhelpful. Right, meanwhile, right, the dwarf who was in the wrong place is no longer in the wrong place. But on the other hand, I think until we have the siege engine staffed, there's not much point in trying to tempt the goblins back up here. So Diziat asked, where are the enemy siege engineers? So let's have a look. So there are 3 of them, effectively, or at least there were. Okay, that's a good question. They don't appear on the list anymore. Let's see if we can find some trolls in this list. Huh. Now, those T's are tigers. So they don't appear to be dead. But I also can't see any trolls on the list of the living. So I don't know where the enemy siege engineers have got to. We don't appear to know they exist anymore, which is perhaps a little worrying.
This feels very much like they're out there somewhere.
Yes.
This isn't a good sort of state of being, really. If you'd like to know a bit more definitely where they are and are not.
Here, you have no job, my dear Mebsworth. How about you do a job? No one actually seems to be in the mood for operating siege engines today. Does seem to be a shortage of crossbow bolts near this bolt thrower. Oh, no, there's that. Look, that one is completely full of, that bin is completely full of bolts. Why do you list, oh, nearby but assigned to squads 250? Is this because I've gone and put some dwarves in crossbow squads? But that seems weird. Well, the catapult will work anyway. And like, we could let another batch in a bit if the siege operators don't get their asses into gear. Yeah, and there is still this dwarf out here. I think actually now, given that there is not that much of a crowd around the entrance, I should give that dwarf the opportunity to come in again. And again, this might not work, but even if it doesn't work, we'll probably end up killing a bunch of goblins in the process. Because yeah, I don't. While maybe ideally I would wait for the siege for the bolt thrower to be staffed. Since no one actually seems to want to do that, I think rescuing our lost dwarf might be a higher priority. Though frankly, they mostly seem to be running around. So possibly this is just going to attract more goblins. If the goblins start heading into the fortress, then I will raise the bridge again. Unless, of course, the bolt thrower comes online, at which point. Actually, thing to do, where are... So there's the goblins with the battering ram. Though what it's possible for them to do with that, I have no idea. We've never had one be relevant yet. Oh, excellent. Someone's turned up to staff the catapult, which is kind of a bit dangerous when there's a dwarf out there. Because they might get hit, but I think it's probably not a bad idea anyway. Thing. There was a thing I was going to do. Setting I was going to change. What was it? I can't remember. Oh yes, it was to make sure that everything that the goblins have left in the Barbican is forbidden. I don't think that's necessary. I think they all are, but just in case dwarves think they can get in there and do things. So at the moment, the one-way door isn't open, so the goblins can't actually get into the fortress. Neither can the dwarf who's trying to escape. possibly someone will turn up here eventually. So that we can go twang splat at them with a catapult. I did request the pulling of that lever, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. I think it has been pulled now. Because, no, hang on, what? It's in the opposite state from the wagon bridge, but the wagon bridge is up, and that is down, which I think means the lever's in the wrong state, and no one has been requested to pull it. Right, let's pull that lever as well. Oh, flying stone. Oh, there was almost a goblin in the path of that stone. Sadly, it's now not going to hit anyone. Right, the one-way door is open, allowing wayward dwarves in, but I fear it will allow a wayward goblin in first, so... You've just fallen over again. It's a different goblin, to be fair, but... Twang! Oh dear, we've just exploded a goblin lasher with a stone. Twang. I don't know why the catapult goes twang. But it seems to be reasonably effective, if not quite as effective as the bolt thrower. Goblins are considering entering the fortress. But like milling around just outside the front gate is the perfect place. Oh, that one missed. Oh, no, almost a brave goblin. Yeah, this catapult's not doing badly, you know. I don't know why the other bolt thrower is not being loaded. I wonder if it is because there's something weird about the bolt allocations. I might investigate that. Let's see if we can find the settings for... So we gave the syrups of starting crossbows. We do have an ammo button there, which assigns them 250 bolts. I mean, we could tell them not to assign so many bolts to themselves in this roll. Let's adjust that downwards to 50 and see if that... then deassigns some arrows. Doesn't seem to be doing so. I think they may now be stuck. I mean, possibly we could go delete bolts. Add a smaller quantity of bolts. Oops. Confirm. Do I also... No, I don't think I need to press update equipment. What does it say then? Nearby and available 250. Right. SGT observes that I claim that the catapult goes twang and the drawbridge goes sproing and the bolt thrower makes no sound at all, or at least not yet. I think the bolt thrower probably goes daka daka. I think it fires faster than that.
I'm just at a 656 multi-seer Sudoku in 40 minutes. It took Simon 20. There wasn't his maths involved.
I guess that.
And there may be a bit of a problem of getting I mean, I suppose the armourer who's running around outside, I could try to send into one of the bolt holes. Like, we do have places that are meant for this purpose, but they seem to be doing okay just running away. Right, the bolt thrower is getting loaded again. And the one-way door is open, so the goblins can, in theory, enter the fortress. Of course, in practice, what they can do is get thumped in the face by passing limestone boulders. Did that entire squad just walk up to the edge of the drawbridge and get vigorously shot? And none of them survive? Because there certainly did seem to be quite a lot of death there. I'm fairly sure there were quite a lot of live goblins there, and now there aren't. One moment while we refill the bolt thrower with bolts. Well, it might be necessary. I think it's still being loaded though, so this goblin may get to experience the traps. Oh, that seems to be a goblin climbing out of, or possibly into the moat. Where's the one that just entered? All right, there's the goblin that's just entered the Barbican. I think for safety, we should close the one-way door now until that goblin's dead. Which might happen fairly soon. Oh, is that weapon trap temporarily not working properly? That's bad. That weapon trap's working properly. I mean, admittedly, it's a weapon trap mostly loaded with elven swords, so it's not a very effective weapon trap. But anything that causes a goblin to fall over is good, because then the weapon trap rearms itself and just attacks again, as far as we could tell from the mace trap earlier. So having fallen over, you get repeatedly hit. No, Ted, don't give up. There is hope, really. If you were to go in the other direction, you might do all right. I mean, I appreciate it is a little embarrassing being beaten up by an automaton wielding elven wooden swords. Oops, I just unpaused. You managed to make a step. Well done. Oh, no, that's a different goblin axe bod there who has managed not to get hit yet. Oh, you found the proper weapons now. That's not going to be good for you. I think up there we're still loading the siege engines. Oh dear, the wooden sword trap is doing surprisingly well there, despite being fairly ineffectual. So Utes continues to get beaten up with wooden swords. Dang. Oh dear, yes, as managed to fall over and given into pain as a result of having their leg broken. This one, whose name I've forgotten, Statost, is still in the dodging and occasionally getting bruised mode. Yeah, still getting missed. Another round of misses. Slightly scary, this goblin axeman. Ooh! Statost appears to have made it all the way past the traps. Only slightly bruised. Right, we should make sure we close. We should already be in the process of closing the inner door, the one-way door. Though the lever has yet to actually be pulled. For safety, let's close the outer drawbridge as well. Because we may actually need the military to do military things, and we'd like them not to accidentally run out of the building. Not that they can, because of course, well, no, the thing is, as military dwarves, they would quite happily leap over the gap in the one-way door. All right, Statos is actually unable to stand. Probably, oh yes, because they got their left lower leg broken. It just took them a couple of steps to realise that they couldn't stand up anymore. So that's going to reduce their combat effectiveness a little. Oh yes, yes. I just unpaused for a bit, and apparently someone managed to fire a catapult while I was there. That's indoors. This goblin axeman, who has I think made it into and out of the traps area, has now managed to have their right lung destroyed by a thing. Oh, and have their head crushed. What a pity. So yes, the catapult is not doing badly. I'm mostly concerned about this goblin, who is like technically on the inside of all the fixed defences. But to be fair, not actually going anywhere. Oh, that. Oh, right. Yes, we are back to having an operating bolt thrower briefly. We should see where that goblin's got to. Oh, almost inside the fortress. Moreover, they have met a pig. Are they going to be distracted by the pig? Yes. We've closed the outer door, so I think it's actually okay for me to summon the divine... Who's currently in training? There do seem to be a bunch of dwarves here. Summon the divine stones and tell them to please kill this goblin who has made it through the traps. Not sure if there's another live goblin inside. I don't think there is. Okay, now all that's happening there is that the goblin is being ill and attacking a boar which keeps dodging. Allegedly. Though given the blood there, I kind of suspect that the goblins hit them. Oh, we've sealed them in now. We can't actually get into the barbican. Let's open the barbican again so that the mill dwarves can actually do something. maybe save that pig. Like, the pig's someone's pet. Okay, I think that may be the end of the pig. Yes. Oh well. We'll get the military dwarves in there eventually to finish off the goblin. Suppose I could look at the main gate, couldn't I? That's where all the fun stuff happens. I think we got the our military in. Oh, and yes, this is not as one-sided as I had hoped. Because our nearby military dwarf is also seriously injured, having just lost an arm. Like, were you wearing any armour, or are you a complete idiot? Well, you were wearing some armour, but not such that will protect your arm. Okay. Well, let's watch this battle as it happens. Well, okay, goblin disarmed. Goblin now resorting to biting the axe dwarf. I mean, I'm impressed that this is an axe dwarf who has lost an arm and whose response is to start doing the same thing to their enemy. Right, no special orders because the goblin is dead. Right, excellent. Another axe dwarf got involved. Right, yes. The bow goblins are hiding down there, considering whether to approach the entrance to the fortress. It'd be nice if you could get back inside the fortress proper, so that then we can open the drawbridge again. Because the thing is, opening the drawbridge is quite an important piece of tempting the goblins back in range of the fixed defences. Yes, I hope you're going to go to yes, actually, like, are you... All right, you're in the hospital. Good, because you are going to need some repairs. I think. Like, hang on, didn't you? Yes, you've lost your right arm, but apparently we don't need to do anything about your right arm. Most need to tidy up your left hand, apparently. Personally, I think we need to get you some armour. Don't need 2 gauntlets now, at least. But yeah, I think you'll be fine. You will recover from your severe blood loss in due course. But yes, you're the one who didn't lose your arm. No wonder you feel fine. You just fire like 4 bolts. Yes. All right, yes, I think there might be something about prone dwarves, i.e. those who have fallen over, not being valid targets for siege engines. Right, so now I think we possibly need to tempt the goblins back. So I think we open the thin drawbridge again. And either that or we go and clean the traps, I suppose. Because at the moment the dwarves can't leave the fortress, so we could possibly turn off the burrows and maybe get some of these weapon traps cleaned up so that they're not jammed with bits of goblin. I think they're still adequately effective. Plus, like, the military can do things if they have to. Let us briefly reopen the one-way door. Oh, hang on, no, that was the one-way door's open. You don't need to briefly reopen the one-way door. Have you just gone and pulled that lever? You have, haven't you? Yes. No, don't pull it yet, because otherwise the signals will get confused. But do lower the outer drawbridge. Oh, I think someone just caught a boulder in the upper body. Right lower, in most of their limbs, really. I mean, it's polite for them all to die straight outside the front door. It's going to make cleaning up the bodies easy. What's going on with that bolt thrower? Is it being loaded, or is the I think the operator has discovered that they're covered in blood and would like not to be. Oh, everything's getting sluggish. I should go and look at what our virtual memory situation is like and what time of day it is. So I'm going to go say we're having one of our ex-Wayland is eating all my RAM days. So there will now be a brief pause while I save, restart various programs, and then come back again. The stream will carry on running. You just won't be able to see anything exciting happening because there won't be anything exciting happening. So I can answer some questions from the chat, can't I? Okay, there's only one, which is, why are you under siege so much of the time? Partly because we are currently at war with the goblins, as usual, the elves, slightly to my surprise, and the local necromancer, all of whom are, for their various reasons, wishing to kill all of the dwarves in the fortress. Also, in addition to that, like, where's Dwarf Fortress gone? Oh well. I tend to run. Hang on, how to do things. I can't do that and talk at the same time. I also tend to run sieges quite slowly, because they are they like require single. Well, they don't require single stepping, but they certainly come a lot closer to requiring single stepping, because like I actually want to see what's going on and take actions reasonably swiftly when things go wrong. Also, the last couple of sieges, I mean, one of them was technically only an ambush, did take a very long time to resolve because I wasn't really prepared for them. Like this one has only taken a fortnight of game time so far. And the general situation is you get about, when things are busy, you get about one siege per season. So far this has taken 2 weeks out of the 3-month season, which is still quite a long time. Anyway, we're back now. You should be able to see the dwarves, and I've lost a copy of Top that was telling me how bad things were getting. Where's it gone? There it is. Let's move that to a different desktop. There. Right. So, yes, our armourer out there is still... on the one hand, I would like to get them in. On the other hand, they seem to be doing all right. Like they haven't actually got into a fight yet. Right, so we've now... Currently, the entrance to the fortress is open, slightly to my surprise. So possibly there will be some more goblins coming up here now. Diziat asks, are there many live enemies left now? Let's have a look. Yeah, pretty decent number, about 20. Enough that I don't think I just want to send the military out to splat them yet. Few enough that I want to know where they are, though. So, in particular, where is the commander? The commander is seriously injured, and... right, yes, so there's a mob of... Mark's goblins, rather, a couple of levels below us. They're the main ones who haven't actually invaded yet. Presumably because they think their job is to stand at the back and fire arrows at anyone who gets past the front line. But the thing is, they may not have noticed that they dwarves with the goblins, rather, with the melee weapons have all got squashed. I think I saw someone move. Oh, right, that's our armourer. One-way door is still open, so they could, in theory, make it into the fortress. In theory. They have got into one of the hiding holes. Right. It's not currently possible to get from there into the main fortress, but possibly we could do something useful here. So they are Iton, Geshud, something or other. Oh, who is not officially assigned to the... Right, there's a small number of dwarves who are not assigned to the correct burrow. Well, let's put every one of them other than Ishud in the correct burrow. Ishud, though, will not go into that burrow. And we will then ask to build a limestone block wall there. And all being well, that task will be taken by Ishud, who will therefore wall themselves in, which does give them a small chance of dying of thirst, but it shouldn't be very easy for them to do so because they do have a pot with 16 artichoke wine in, so I think they should be able to survive quite some time up there, and some food as well. So let's see how that works. So no one else is trying to construct the wall. Good. No, where are you going? We need to put a table in this room. I think it's too late to do this, but... I think they're going to... Oh, cancels eat, building inaccessible. Excellent. He is annoyed after having to drink without using a cup or mug. But is now eating where he is rather than inside the main fortress. Is your name actually Iton Fortress Problems? Right, yes, you are the fortress problem. You've just managed to get your cat inside. I mean, I don't know if it's actually your cat. No, it's a stray cat. Oh, it's left again. Right. Iton Fortress Problems is now sealed in to somewhere which is connected to the main fortress by a complicated system of staircases, except that there's a solid wall here. A stray baby alpaca is currently coming into the fortress. So, okay, this is all very well. What are the goblins up to? Has anyone seen a goblin recently? So there are some of them milling around there. Ooh, oh, that's a rather bold approach. There's a drawbridge over here, you know. You don't have to climb along the wall. Puppies! Right, we've just splatted another goblin who happened to be passing. Meanwhile, this goblin bowman is still climbing. Oh! Have you just climbed up? Can't see anywhere else you could have gone. Yes, they could have fallen off, but there is no sign of a goblin, an injured goblin at the bottom of the moat. So I don't think that goblin who was climbing up there fell off. I should have been following them. We have two collapsed goblins in that square now, and they're now tending to crash into one another when they get hit with rocks. Yes, I'm just going, there's a bunch of messages there that look suspicious, but... Oh, are those, maybe those are just sparring, actually. Yeah, okay, though those are just sparring. I don't think I need to worry about them. Yeah, we have some unhappiness. We're trying to fix it. Yes, I think we're now getting a load of sparring messages, which is inconvenient for working out what's going on with the people we actually care about, namely the goblins. But actually, mostly the goblins are busy passing out and getting hit with rocks. Because the halfway competent goblins are staying away from the main entrance to the fortress, even though it's in a position where, oh god, where it's all full of miasma, which possibly makes it even less pleasant to be in. Maybe that's why we should have cleaned the traps earlier. Then they don't get all smelly. Oh, incoming goblins who aren't seriously injured. Yet. Okay, not very incoming, really. I'm beginning, let's check that. Yeah, I think we need to make more bolts. I think I just need to schedule all the bolt manufacture. So I think the problem with the bolt thrower is that it's running out of bolts repeatedly. Slightly tempted to just make this forge infinite bolts. I mean, this might consume our iron supplies a bit, but the bolt thrower is very effective. Good night. Oh, I think there are goblins forming up at the entrance. One goblin has been bold enough as to try to come inside. One is, I think, not enough to be worth raising the drawbridge on. Especially if they're going to do... Well, if they're going to do that, we do want to raise the drawbridge to keep them in. Oh, okay, I think apparently the sight of all the dead goblins down there is scary enough that the goblins just leave again. So maybe we do need to pull the lever just to force them to stay indoors. Oh, I think someone has fallen into the... yes. Song Usekar fell into the moat, and unfortunately someone had put a load of spikes at the bottom of the moat. Actually spears, because the elves had left a load of wooden spears behind. And it turns out if you fall onto a bunch of wooden spikes when wearing no armour, wooden spears indeed, it's quite fatal. Yes, go on, keep milling around up there, where if you dodge the passing boulders, you fall onto spikes. Someone has made it into the traps. Let's check what's going on there. It's a bit hard to see because of all this miasma. There's definitely someone in here. Possibly quite a lot of someone's. I'm going to close the outer drawbridge because I'm concerned. I mean, not that I would really... Oh, someone actually wants to load the bolt thrower. Excellent. Not that I expect that it's going to be a problem if some goblins make it through. Yeah, there's definitely goblins in there, aren't there? Some of them are still doing all right. And some of them are getting beaten up. But yeah, there's a surprisingly large amount of success there. I'm just going to ask the Divine Stones to please be a little more alert and maybe try to find your armour. I think we're mostly... We're slowly increasing the number of these that are getting hit with the maces. Like, there are still a couple who seem to be successfully dodging. Right, I think things are getting better for us there. You're still successfully dodging. You're not. You're not. We might be down to one useful goblin in there now. Oh no, there are two. I think part of the problem is they're not quite determined enough to get to the end of the Barbican, so they keep running around. Ooh, almost made it to the end there. That suggests there are 5 of them still. Many of them dodging repeatedly. If they could only have the discipline to keep going in one direction. They would probably get into the fortress and get to be killed by an actual dwarf. But as it is, instead, they just run back and forth and get repeatedly hit by the same weapon traps. You're still being missed. You're not. I think there are still 2 goblins in there habitually surviving the weapon traps. We'd hope that the dwarves who've been asked to station will try to sort out their armour a bit better. That looks like you're now being bashed about. You're still not. You're now probably going to die. Still no goblins, as far as I can tell, inside the fortress. We can see that things are happening under there because the weapon traps change colour. Okay, no, still two goblins making a decent fist of it in there. I think one of them may have actually, got through the defences. Well done, dear goblin. Which goblin is it? Not you, you're still stuck on the traps. This goblin made it past the traps. Got attacked by a mace dwarf, fractured the bone in the mace dwarf's foot despite an iron high boot because scourges are ludicrous weapons. But then does seem to have got more and more effectively taken apart. Still not, right, yes, head removed, good. So I hope that's the only goblin that has just been in combat. They didn't last very long. And they're now in quite a lot of pieces. That's that square there. Let's unforbid everything in there, because that is essentially inside the fortress. And then let's mark all of the bits of goblin for dumping so that they don't stink the place up. Because, again, it's more or less inside the fortress. Right. So, I think there's still at least one goblin in the Barbican being beaten up by the traps. I think actually I should watch what's going on out here, because there's slightly more of it out here. So you're still dodging traps quite effectively. You're just standing up. That's also a bit of goblin that should be disposed of, as is that. Right, the loose bits of goblin. Oh, aren't there some down here too? Yes. No, that's a bit of dwarf that needs disposing of. That's a bit of goblin though, and is reachable at the moment. Oh no, Lord Rovadaros is a pig. I mean, literally. Ah, but Ubul Amid Katan is not, yes. Actually, their arm is not going to get buried because they're still alive. So let's dump that. Not sure if those bits of goblin are really reachable. Like, there's an argument that those are not in the main fortress. But there is only one goblin out there at the moment. Diziot says, that's you running out of ingredients for your iron bolts? No. The message being, I think we can find it here, cancels make pig iron bars needs flux boulders. Pig iron is only needed to make steel, and we're making the bolts out of iron because in bolts quantity is much more important than quality. At the moment we can't get enough crossbow bolts. So it's worth making them out of whatever we can find. Ah, there's our surviving goblin. Boldly heading inwards and then outwards again. Oh dear. Right, so that's... Sorry, I'm finding more bits of pig that need disposing of before they start to rot. So I think that's now all of the goblins in the Barbican killed. There, incidentally, is the battering ram, but I don't think they can do much with it because I think its purpose is to knock down drawbridges. But our drawbridge is at the top of a 3Z level high wall. So I don't think it's practical for them to get a battering ram to it, especially since they seem to have lost their siege engineers. And like the invasion now actually consists of those 4 goblin macemen with around the battering ram, 1 seriously injured goblin bowman up on the hill here, and 1 goblin lasher also seriously injured up on the hillside. So I think we're now at the point where we want to mop up. We're essentially hoping that these remaining 6 goblins will come into our fortress is probably a bit optimistic. And it's probably not worth waiting till we can get it's probably not worth waiting until we can get the bolt thrower online again. So I think we should open all of the outer drawbridge. If we're really lucky, our forces will have see, we should station both of our useful squads in the entrance. And then, right, the drawbridge is open. Open the inner drawbridge so that we can actually leave, because things are currently configured only for entering the fortress. I mean, if we were being paranoid, we'd move everyone into the Barbican and then open the inner drawbridge, but really, the traps are still there. I mean, then open the outer drawbridge. Yeah, I mean, four goblin macemen is still a problem, but it's a problem we can absolutely deal with if we take 20 heavily armed dwarves and hit them. Here's our foremost dwarf. Let's follow them. Group up here. Right. Where are the goblins? Lost them. Ah, there they are. Since there are only 4 goblin macemen, we can look at each of their combat logs in turn with that like half second of violence. Okay, well that was effective. That one's dead. Ditto that one. Ditto that one. You're still technically alive, but it won't be for very long. Indeed, you may be the only survivor. I'm slightly surprised by that, but whatever. Right, the siege is officially over. And I think like practically over as well. There are no invaders left. So now, highest priority is to let the armour smith out of their cupboard. I mean, like, they're fine. He feels triumph after the forces of the failed dungeons were defeated at Field Tombs. How he knows about it being locked in a cupboard, I don't know, but... highest priority for the miners, knock down that wall. Suspend all of the burrows. The 2 burrows had different settings. Alright, yes, toggle whether workshops can source materials from outside the burrow. Let's turn that off there, even though it doesn't really matter. Indeed, let's remove you from that burrow now and assign everyone to that burrow instead. So now our problem is that the entire place is full of dead goblins. Siege engines to load but don't fire. And I think we start by clearing the Barbican. Because it's currently full of rotting goblins. I think I've already marked everything there in the one-way door system that needs disposing of. There will now be some slightly tedious Excuse me, I've just smeared my glasses in a way that's causing me the inability to see what I'm doing. That's better. So now there may well be some slightly tedious getting large quantities of... Can we do this through the stocks page? If I go body parts, I mean, they're not very well organised, but... No, because I want to particularly do the ones in the in the Barbican first. So that's not... I can't just do it through the body parts thing, because that will only give me... I mean, admittedly, I mostly want the things that can rot, so teeth are actually quite a low priority. If I do it through body parts, I can't, through the stocks menu, I can't work out which ones are where. So yes, now slightly tedious. Find things that urgently need to be disposed of, especially things that haven't started rotting yet. This, of course, is an advantage of weapons that don't hack bits off people. It makes them quicker to clear up. I've already done that one. How to... Gosru and Strodno. Right, I think that's everyone, all of the dead goblins inside the Barbican marked for disposal, which will reduce the amount of miasma. Dizzy suggests I should have pre and post fortress checklists for things that you need to do. Oh yes, that's another thing on the post fortress checklist. Close the one-way door. Because otherwise people try to go through the one-way door, and if they go through it the wrong way, it opens in front of them. And we get a load of dangerous terrain messages as people take the wrong route. Right, you're just standing up. Good. So okay, who's doing the dump item tasks? Where are the dump item tasks? So here is a dwarf unwalling fortress problems, who can now work out how to get out and goes off to store an item in a bin. There we go. Right. I think that was therefore 0 dwarven deaths in that siege. Like, some pretty serious injuries, but... and several pets got killed. And everyone is going to be grumpy about this miasma. Does the bolt hole automatically restock? I can't remember, but I think it is adequately stocked. I mean, it's meant just to be a place to store stone blocks, but yeah, there's lots of, I mean, technically mostly forbidden food up there actually. So yes, it's vastly overstocked. It could like support most of the population of the fortress for a month, I expect. Right, dwarves are now hurling bits of goblin into the rubbish dump here. And then the crushing system destroys them. It should then help with the miasma problem down here. Though, yes, I think there's a bunch of... Now what's happening is the dwarves are pulling the corpses out of the weapon traps, and therefore that leaves more objects that need to be dumped. I suppose I could have done this by inspecting the weapon traps carefully. And marking for dumping anything that was stuck in a weapon trap as well. Dizzy asks, do you need to unforbid all the goblinite? In due course, yes. But first I want to clear the barbican of miasma. Because otherwise everyone who goes out to collect the goblinite will complain about the miasma. I think that's all, most of it's marked. That's not a familiar name, so maybe that one's not marked for dumping yet. Yes, I think maybe it would actually have been better to have looked through all of the traps, but... Right, I think that's all of the rotting dead goblins extracted from the Barbican. So I think now, and this is possibly a little overkill, but I think I should mark any surviving goblin corpses for dumping. Also the stray war dog. And like, we could just leave the skeletons out there. But it will upset people less if we don't. One slightly awkward thing is that technically this isn't necessarily only listing the goblins, but as in, I'm having to do this by going, that says G and it looks like a goblin-y name. Which is going to be even more awkward for the body parts, because of course they're not even, they don't list as G. We can still recognise goblin-y names though. Surprisingly few, actually. Right, so now I think all this lot should get tidied up as well. And like, we can reasonably actually unforbid everything there at the very least. And all the stuff that's fallen to the bottom of the moat. Dizzy, it says, can you reclaim all the bolts? Yeah, actually, let's just do that this way. There is no reason for any crossbow bolt to be forbidden. Even if it's made of silver or copper. I mean, kind of silly to unforbid the arrows, but like, we can reload, we have some weapon traps that can take arrows. Similarly, I don't think there's any reason, I mean, there isn't much reason for anything to be forbidden at this stage, but if we just gratuitously unforbid all weapons that might have accidentally got forbidden. Not sure where we're going to find. I think the blowguns are down in the caverns, so that might be a bit unfortunate to unforbid, but Right, so now all of the dwarves are now all coming out and picking up dead goblins for disposal. So I hope that a quantity of bolts will get delivered up here as well. Here is a small child playing among the corpses, dizzily owing to not having been outside for a while. It's now winter. Oh, a metalsmith's guild has been established. That's interesting. Like, I set up a guild hall for weaponsmiths in order to get more of them so that we would get some artifact weapons. We've got one artifact weapon so far, but we have probably got some pretty decent battle axes now, which I should investigate. Dizzyet asks whether we should do something about the unhappy dwarves. Yeah, let's. By which I think I mean deassign anyone from the buttery brunch who isn't seriously unhappy. So Carol is still seriously unhappy. Adil is, well, they're just off seriously, but we'll let them stay. Tun is, Rith is, Ilral is. Like, actually we just need to put Iton in there possibly to get them, give them some time off after they're being pursued by dwarves, by goblins all the time. I don't want to put my siege operator in there, ideally. So I think actually it's only Iton Geshud Batok whom I want to add. To effectively give them a bit of time off after their rather traumatic experiences. Actually, while we're here, we can do things like dumping teeth now that we're not particularly prioritising things that can rot. we're a bit short of drink. I might want to pay attention to that soon. But like, tidying up the dead goblins is the priority. But on the other hand, I think the dead goblins are now all tidied up. I wonder what happened to their battering ram. We do have plenty of strawberries, so we can probably brew a load of strawberry wine, and that will make things better. Where are you going? I think there is still a slight tendency for people to grab a mug from the mug stockpile and then take it up into one of the bolt holes and drink there, which is perhaps not ideal. So a thing I do want to do actually, the divine stones probably all have new axes available. Yes. So I'm kind of tempted to tell the divine stones to station briefly in the hope that they will work out what equipment they should actually have. Yes, that looks good. And like all get themselves armour and weapons. So they're still all lacking. Oh, that's shields, isn't it? Yes. It's not such a problem. We possibly need to either make a load of wooden shields or change them to any kind of shield. We've got a decent amount of wood actually. Why is that not getting disposed of? Oh, because we've closed the one-way door and you can't get at it from the outside? Yes, okay, that square you can't get at from the outside. Indeed, what's this? Oh dear, we've closed the one-way door and locked several dwarves in the gap between the one-way door and the rest of the fortress, because you can't leave the fortress through it. Maybe I should have designed that more sensibly. Let's open the one-way door in the hope that people will get out of the way and also clear up the rubbish. Yeah, we could do a bit more mining. I mean, it is actually 20 past midnight, so I think possibly the answer might be we have done the cleaning up. No, I didn't want to do that at maximum priority. I really want to do this at like minimum priority. I mean, actually, we don't need to do any mining up here anyway, really, because we've got enough kaolinite. But yes, I'd like to get the one-way door cleared, because that is still technically part of the problem. And then we will stop for the night. So I'm just going to look at... Probably going to get a bunch of annoying job cancellations now. But I want to leave this open until all of the rubbish is disposed of from it. Which includes the dead pig bits. Right, dead pig bits have been disposed of. There's a surprisingly large amount of clothing in here. So what should I have done then? What I should have done is have had a mechanism for closing off the outside of this route, because essentially at the moment, if I close the drawbridge, then people can no, that doesn't work either. Yes, that works. Then people can't get in here to do things with stuff on the inside of it. But if I had something that shut off on the outside, that would be a lot safer. At least at the moment, it looks like objects tend to end up piled up on the inside side, but maybe then that would be different. I don't know. Anyway. I'm now going to go, is there anything in here? There's a wheelbarrow, that needs to be moved. Yeah, we need to fix this so that it's not quite so prone to either triggering mass job cancellations or locking items in there that shouldn't be locked in there. Right, so the stationing dwarves are all now just stationing and not desperately trying to find their equipment. And they are mostly equipped. Well, they're all mostly equipped. They're mostly all equipped, apart from the shields, which we need to fix. So that's good. We can now destation them. Right, I think we will say that this is the end of tonight's session, even though that pig corpse hasn't yet quite been dumped. No, actually, I'm going to wait for the pig corpse to be properly dumped. Oh, sorry, miasma. Why is there miasma? I'm going to quickly try to work out why there's miasma. But that would require rotting meat and it's coming from up here. I mean, it might be coming from the rubbish dump, but the rubbish dump is functioning correctly. I don't know. Oh well, we will ignore the miasma for now. Well done, Claire. Right, so I will in that case say that now is the time for me to save and stop, and we will come back on Friday with a kind of tidy fortress in early winter. So maybe the elves are going to come back and attack us, who knows. But until then, we will say good night. Good night.